Closed session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, the town council will meet and close the executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code, number 1, section 551.071, consultation with attorney to seek legal advice of its attorney regarding legal issues related to the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ, and legal issues related to the First Ranch development. Number 2, section 551.074, personnel, to deliberate and consider the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officers or employees, to wit, town engineer. Time being 6:30, we convene into closed session.
Mayor, I need to recuse myself as to item 1.
Okay,
So
Thank you.
whenever y'all done with that, I guess somebody will come get me for
okay,
2. All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. I'll have fun.
Yeah. Because we watched. We had to
Oh,
buy the new
It
season.
was on the. you got-
Did
that's
you watch
just
the
the way-
1923?
It's got like
Oh,
a
yeah,
2.5.
it's all that.
Not the 1883, the new one,
Oh, no,
1920 with Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren. Episode 1 was last night. Fantastic.
They're just hitting home runs every time.
Time being 7:20, reconvened into open session. No action taken from the executive session. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. If you'd like to speak on an agenda item or a non-agenda item, please fill out the form and hand it to Tammy. Please indicate on the form if you wish to speak during the discussion on a specific agenda item. Remember, council members are not allowed to answer questions during public participation. Please remember to state your name and address for the record. Number one, nobody, I guess nobody. Number one, Denton County Emergency. Jim?
No, nothing, so don't ask. No, I know nothing. Back to the first, I understand, that's probably why I have little information, because there wasn't much of a meeting, the one that I missed a couple of days ago. I mean, 4 weeks ago, wasn't it? When we was in Wyoming, and it was -11 then, so we're ready for Friday. We're used to it. Anyway, for the month of October, 157 EMS, 134 fire calls for a total of 291. Continues to trend upward with all the new development in the homes and everything that's going on. Light siren time was 1 minute and 13 seconds. Dispatch to arrival, 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Average time on the scene is 22:53. Had a couple of fires out there, which made them longer. Our average response time is 6:54. We had 12 incidents of anything of notoriety, so I just broke out these 6. Authorized controlled fire and EMS injury without a motor vehicle accident. The uncontrolled fire would be, or the controlled fire would be whoever got permission to do it lost control of it. So they had to come put the fire out. Breakdown again of different things that went on throughout the community or our service district. If you have any questions on those, please let me know. And as always, I want to thank you for allowing me to participate. I didn't participate last time, but like I said, because I had to go. And I don't know what to think tomorrow. I'll find out, won't I? So if I hear anything good, I'll let y'all know during the fire board meeting. Okay. Thank y'all.
Any
Thanks,
questions?
Jim.
for Jim? No.
You what?
No questions?
No,
Sure.
Thank you.
thanks, Jim.
Planning and zoning report, Dad?
I just wanted to provide an update that the Planning and Zoning Commission did receive the full survey, as y'all did, for the comprehensive plan. Their homework was, we're going to begin in section 2. Basically, section 1 of the comprehensive plan is mostly demographics, background information that I will update all of that. Section 2 begins with all the objectives, goals for the overall plan. And their homework was, we're going to next P and Z meeting. And then for the next few months, we will be going through each section to ensure that it still meets the character of what we see in those surveys. And again, with that, we don't anticipate any changes to the land use map. There may be some tweaks in areas where we say we want parks, but we don't have a parks department. We may need to, P and Z may remove those and recommend that on. I don't know yet, but so again, it'll be a thorough review of the plan in light of the information received with the surveys. So again, I just want to update that we're moving on that.
Thank you. Community Development Corporation, Tammy?
The Community Development Corporation, few months ago, after a few meetings, they decided that they're going to start meeting not every month, now that the town is pretty much built out, but would rather meet as needed or on an every other month basis. They hadn't met till October. They met this month. They had their appointment of chairs like we have every year. So Brenda Latham is the chair now of the Community Development Corporation. Dwayne Scarsbeck was the chair. He's the vice chair. And Randy Van Alstyne remained treasurer. A couple things they've been focusing on, marketing. What can we do for businesses? We need a chamber. We need this, with all types of different ideas of try to market. Back in 2019, they did their first business survey, then COVID hit, staffing, so we didn't follow up. So before any of these plans or ideas take fruition, they were given the 2019 business survey that they did. They're going to review it in January. They're going to update that survey and send it out to all the businesses and ask them. And it's, statistical information, but then what kind of information do you want from the town, or how can we help you? And if they belong to chambers, what chambers and other types of events that they would like to partner with. It's been on their long range plan to, I think the town council has talked about this as well, partner with the town center for like a tree lighting ceremony, something to, and where the businesses are involved in that as well. They used to do an Old Town Christmas. They've been through some management changes, but we reached out to them, and the town center is interested in partnering with the town on that. And so those are some things that board can fund for marketing purposes for other businesses. So just wanted to give you a little update on that, and we'll continue to update you as things arise out of that board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Town Administrator, monthly report, November.
Please.
Pete,
Oh, Chief, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I'm not gonna let you off the hook.
Mayor, council, staff. So in front of you is the monthly graphs there. And again, next month I will have a kind of a summation of the whole year with some comparisons. So self-initiated calls were 283, and of those 95 were traffic stops. Went down a little. We've had an employee out for a little bit. Calls for service 107 and 6 medical calls. So total calls for October were 394, total calls for November 396. Had 5 crashes, one of which was in the Kroger parking lot. 2 were on FM 407 in various locations. We had one at the on McMakin at Kroger as vehicle versus pedestrian. Then we had one Lantana Trail on FM 407. So moving on, the Blue Santa project that has concluded, and it was a huge success. And I want to publicly thank Tammy and her crew for that. She does a tremendous job on that. Due to the kindness and generosity of the Bartonville community, the Bartonville Police Department's Blue Santa program was able to provide 30 gifts to 39 kids. So thanks to the residents who contributed gifts and monetary donations, and to the Bartonville store and Luminous, I say that right, Luminous, Med Spa for their toy collections and donations, and to Waste Connections for donating 5 bicycles. They typically do, they donate the bicycles usually every year. And finally, to the Argyle Student Leadership Group, which their abbreviation is PALS, and they do this every year for wrapping all the gifts. It's a lot of fun when they come up here and do that. So this program would not be a success without all that support, including y'all's letting us do it. So we thank you. So the new news on the street is we now have a sergeant, and he'll be formally introduced at the next council meeting. However, I just kind of wanted to tell you how we went about doing that. So when that vacancy came open, I wanted to kind of see, what we had on staff at the time, just kind of watch and see, what people were kind of trying to fit that mold, which is kind of why some of the reason why we've had a gap. But I just wanted to see if there was somebody in house who was capable of doing it. So we got to that point, and it's kind of a 2-part process. One, I let the officers do a survey on who they would pick in-house as who they would like to see as their leader. And the second part of that was I reached out to outside agencies, Argyle and Double Oak, and Argyle allowed 2 of their sergeants to come over, and Double Oak, their assistant chief, came over, and they did a review board with the 4 candidates that we had out of our department. So out of the 4 candidates, it was unanimous both with the officers and the board on who they picked. So Officer Colby Scudder is now your new sergeant. We'll, like I said, formally we'll do something next month for him. So I'm happy to announce that.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Great. And we're still talking with the vehicle supplier. This has just been a terrible process with them. So hopefully that'll be here soon. That's all I got on that. So any questions? Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Okay.
So, I mean, not to mention the 400 Fort Worth vehicles that are in there with it. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that has something to do with it. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Chief.
Number 5, Town Administrator Monthly Report.
I've got the other reports in there, but the financials are in front of you. I was gonna start just real quickly. I'll go over October, but since our financials are cumulative, I'm gonna skip pretty quickly over it. Again, the reason we didn't do this last month is all the adjustments. You do year-end adjustments and both revenues and expenses get charged back to September, or they may stay in October or be pulled forward. Depending on, which fiscal year that the event occurred. So, sales tax collections, if you look at your revenues, we're really looking about 8% is what we'd like to see. But again, October, there's really no trend to look at. Property taxes still aren't in, so you're at 0.29% of budget. That'll should start rolling in really heavily in January and February. Franchise fees, you're showing already 39.5% collected. And again, that was one of those adjustments from September that payment came in, but it was really for October. And so it was pushed forward into this fiscal year. So that's why you're showing such a big number there. Again, the revenues early on are going to fluctuate wildly until those start coming in. So there's not much of a trend to look for, except for sales taxes. In that first month didn't look great. Again, we're expecting 8%, but those will, again, depending on time of year, holidays, et cetera, that'll move a lot. General fund, all funds expenditures. I've changed this one up to look like your other reports. This one always looked a little different. And so I prefer consistency. So I changed it up a little bit. So you have your aggregate expenses, and a year to date will be the same because it's month number 1. And then we put the current budget and then the budget remaining and percent of balance remaining. Again, that used to be flipped and in a different order. So I'm hoping this will be easier to read as we go forward. So again, looking for 92% or better and an aggregate across there, we're at 93.36 of our budget remaining after October. Do you have any questions over the other budgets, the administration and the you can't have that one. In the police department, there really were no anomalies in there. Just some of the transfers will start to occur in the next item I show you on the budget. But again, October is just kind of a mess because we move things around. Bill Spohr came in 2 weeks ago and started making all those year-end adjustments. That's the accountant or part of the CPA firm that does that annually before the audit. So again, this will all get cleaned up during audit. Any questions on October? So go to November and you see a huge jump in the sales tax. We're expecting to see about 16%, and now we're all of a sudden at 20.93. So it was a huge month for sales taxes and mixed beverages. Again, we're starting to see some of the property taxes come in. Some people pay before the end of the year for tax purposes, so we're starting to see some of that revenue.
That or the majority paid in January? Majority?
Taxes are due January 31st, so we'll see the biggest lump will come in January, and we won't see that probably till February. So again, I'm beginning to understand why most managers I've worked for hold off the big purchases until we get that big hit to make sure we hit our number. We want to make sure our budget is healthy before we do the road projects or anything like that. So, when you get in the big seat, it does change your perspective a little bit. So again, permit fees, a lot of large homes are going up. So that one's probably going to be a big number again this year with the subdivisions coming on. Municipal court also, Chief mentioned tickets are down a little bit because we've had someone out, but they're still up from where we were last year. Courts, I think court will really do well this year as we control the streets and catch those people doing, excessive speed and not using their blinkers and running, passing where they shouldn't. If you look at your general fund on page, what is it, 3? I don't know what's in your packet, but it's right there. Again, we want to see 83% or more remaining available balance. Transfers are a little different. That is for capital improvement fund, the vehicle equipment replacement fund, and to the Lantana Town Center grant fund. So when you look at the transfers on page 3, it looks really high. It looks like we've already spent a lot. But that's all been money transferred internally to different accounts. So it's not cash that we've actually spent or transferred anywhere outside of our control. It will be eventually. But again, that running hot, those come in quarterly. So you'll be fine there. If you move to administration, again, we're looking for 83% or higher still available. Supplies, we went out and bought a bunch apparently right at the first of the year. So we're a little low there. Everybody else looks pretty good. And same thing in the police department. We'd like to see 83.33% more remaining. We're at 84.28% as an aggregate across all his categories in the police department. So we're starting out just like we ended. We're in good shape. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Very small numbers, but what are the contracted services on police department? So we got 29% left.
Is that your
That is
annual
that's the
contract?
contract. Sorry, that is the Denton County.
It's gonna be all the interlocals we have with Denton County as far as dispatch and CAD and
Communications and all.
Communications. It's all a one-time lump payment.
One time.
radio
Yes.
service and all that
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
Thank you.
DCSO, I think, is the acronym for that. So that's for the annual contracts. Thank you, Chief. Any other questions on the financials? We've got an agenda item for that is part of your consent agenda, but as part of my report, I'd like to introduce Ryan Wells. He is who I propose we use for planning services going forward. Peloton is a big firm that likes to do a lot of things when all I need is plan review. So again, it's a good firm. I need somebody a little more personal, a little more who understands what we're looking for. So he made the trip out here. I'd interviewed him and talked to him, and he's actually a full-time planner in another community, but he does this as a consultancy. And so I just wanted to let y'all know he took the time to come over here and meet me in person and wanted to get a feel for the town.
Just need a planner occasionally. So
Plan
instead of
review.
contracting with somebody. Great. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. I would like to thank Chief and Tammy and Andrea for the Blue Santa. I think you guys did a great job. Turned out really well. And I know you put a lot of hours into that. And I would like to thank Councilman Crandall and Chapman for volunteering in the Red Kettle. And Van Alstein's also volunteered. We had some students volunteer. So that was nice. And did we come in third or second or do we know?
The collections are still going through
Okay.
December 24th, but out of the four cities, Louisville, can't remember the second, we were third and we were above Flower Mound.
Yeah.
So I thought it was, and again, my argument is, I mean, it's all good for the Salvation Army, but per capita, really, we did really well. So on that one day, you collected $1,189.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we were only a couple hundred behind Highland Village.
Highland Village, yes.
So anyway, pretty amazing.
But great bell ringers out there.
Yeah,
Also, before you move forward, can I inject something?
yeah.
I had an opportunity to come up and Tammy marched me back here when all of these, they just finished wrapping all these gifts out here. And if next year, if everyone has an opportunity to come down here, once it's done, to walk in here and look on the walls and see all the gifts that are stacked up and the effort that went into doing this. Hey, Bartonville, we are blessed truly to have that type of output and contributions going to the town. I've never seen anything like it. I tell you what, it makes one's heart skip a beat when you look at that and you know what people put forward.
There were
Tammy, I thank
over-
you for your efforts.
There were over 200 gifts and those students wrapped them in an hour,
It
about
was
an hour and a half. And just some of those students, you know, the kids reside here and then we also work with Denton ISD. Their school district is within our town and we work with the counselors. So the students are all, we don't know who they are, but when she picked up the gifts, their wish lists are generally just basics. And she's shared the story that one mom was a veteran, disabled veteran. And she has 2 kids and they had trying to be getting services from another organization. And when they went to do the pickup, the other organization felt somebody didn't do what they were supposed to, say they had nothing. And we took them last minute. And it was just very good to be part of that, making those families.
There are some things in life that you can't explain it. You
Yeah.
have to experience it. And if you ever get an opportunity to give yourself with nothing expected in return, can you imagine what those kids, what they felt like in here when those gifts were given to them with no anticipation? I mean, out of the clear blue sky, but by the blessings of the community. We're blessed.
Pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. Consent agenda. This agenda consists of non-controversial housekeeping items required by law. Items may be approved with a single motion. Items may be removed from consent agenda by any council member by making such a request prior to a motion and a vote on the consent agenda. Number 1, consider approval of the November 15th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Number 2, consider approval of November 21st, 2022 special meeting minutes. Number 3, consider approval of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Denton County and the Town of Bartonville Police Department for the use of Denton County radio communications system and authorization for the town administrator and the chief of police to execute the same on behalf of the town. Number 4, consider approval of a consulting services agreement between AdTerm Consulting LLC in the town of Bartonville for general land use planning and GIS services and authorization for the town administrator to execute the same on behalf of the town. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Regular item, discuss and consider approval of amendment to the Bartonville Community Development Corporation fiscal year 2022-23 budget. Tammy?
When the fiscal year 22-23 budget was prepared, the board has restricted funds and they were inadvertently left out. We were changing the way the budgets looked and it was an oversight on staff's part. Those needed to be included in their budget. They are promotional carryover. The state allows the board to budget 10% of their budget for marketing, and anything left over, they can carry that those funds over, as well as incentives. And they have incentives that have been previously approved, which have been approved by this council, which include Cloud9, Bartonville Store, Tractor Supply, and the Hilltop turn improvement. So the total of that was 114,000. And also when the adopted budget shows 740,000 as the beginning balance. Well, after the year closed and we adopted the budget, those numbers changed. So the beginning balance reflects a little bit of a higher amount, but the only change of this was those incentives and carryovers, and they approved this at their December 14th meeting.
Do you have any questions? Motion to.
I'll make a motion to approve an amendment to the Bartonville Community Development Corporation's fiscal year 22-23 budget.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Discussion on Town of Bartonville 50th anniversary of incorporation, which will be in October of 2023. Tammy, staff report.
We put this on the agenda for council's discussion. Again, October 2023 is the second incorporation of the town, but 50 years is next year. I've had it on my calendar since I started working here, and it's nice to see that it's come. In anticipation of this item is for y'all to discuss what you'd like to have. If you have any desires to celebrate it, if you want to do it, then forming perhaps an ad hoc committee to help formulate some type of plan to present to you for this event. So
I think ad hoc committee is a great idea.
Yeah, we definitely need to do something.
Yeah, and I'd like to have the same committee work on maybe a couple events a year for the town. You know, I think we should do a Christmas tree lighting or something. We're one of the few towns that doesn't do that. If we can figure something out, I think we need to do a couple of community type events.
Are we thinking the ad hoc committee should include any citizens that may want to participate in that as well? Or
Event committee?
Mhm.
Yeah, just an event committee in general.
Okay,
I think so.
Yeah, 'cause-
Is that okay?
So we'll bring back next month
For an event?
a resolution to create an ad hoc event committee.
Okay,
And then on that, for that committee, how do you want to solicitate for people to be on that committee? That'll be part of the resolutions. You can, and it's up to you if each council member wants to point something, if you want to open it up for people to apply for. What you've done with other committees.
do it like we did the traffic committee. We can just
probably. Let's-
open it up
I
for,
think we need to figure out, first of all, who on council, who wants to do it, and then go from there, figure out how to. Put
We'll
some
need that
sti-
information to bring that resolution back in January. So
Okay.
this is a time to discuss it now so we can prepare that item for you in January to consider.
You Just need to make sure that we're inclusive and let everybody that wants to really step up and participate. It was kind of like the summer picnic thing that we had. There's a lot of people that are probably going to really want to get involved. We should make sure they have an opportunity.
This will be a little different from that. That was a private event by the residents for residents. One thing that you
Yep.
need to remember, any events that the town puts on, they're open to the public. So the locations and things of those, we can't exclude people because you're using public funds.
I'm
But
with
those
you.
are
I
things we'll
agree
do.
with it. I think we just need to make sure that everybody feels included. That's all.
so what are we thinking as far as committee size? The 5?
What, can we start with a few council members or however we?
If you want it to be council members or not council members, you don't have to have any council members. You can have a staff liaison. It's
Tammy, I
your
think you should do-
desire.
I think you should do it. No, I'm kidding.
Second.
Kidding.
I mean, we'll work with them as staff because there's budgeting, there's legal aspects, different things that they'll have to be posted.
I think that once we form that committee, that committee takes suggestions and input from the citizens. Because if you get 15 or 20 people involved, then you get nothing done because no one can agree on
Yeah.
how to move forward. So,
Yeah. I think so.
you just need to get, say, 4 or 5 people, 3 or 4, whatever, and then let the citizens contact them and give suggestions and ideas and kind of put things together and then organize it and create it and pick a time. The timing on this is going to be critical as well because of the heat during the summer and
Yeah, we don't want to do.
We can work with that to bring you a proposed resolution, which you can massage at your meeting if you so desire. Right.
Okay. So do we need to make a motion for a resolution or is this just a?
No, this is just discussion
Okay.
and then we'll prepare a draft resolution
Okay.
for you in January.
Sounds good to me.
once we get that committee formed, we need to, for instance, your suggestion on, if you looked at the notifications that were sent out by all the towns when they were having their Christmas celebrations and the tree lightings and so forth, Bartonville was never mentioned. So we have a lot of people that we just need to come up with some type of an idea, be creative, find a place or location and do something that we can get the citizens involved. I think we got citizens that would get involved, want to get involved. We just need to look far enough ahead to start the planning process and make it something eventful that the whole town can participate in.
Okay. Anybody have any future agenda items?
I do. I beat you to the gavel. See?
You did.
Right there.
You did.
Well, and this goes for, it's in the real near future. And it's on December the 28th, and that is our honorable mayor has a birthday and she will have another 45-year and
Birthday.
celebration. Yeah. So
Thank you.
anyway,
45.
happy birthday on the
Happy
28th.
Thank
birthday,
you.
Jackie.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
45, everybody.
45.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, few days. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nobody has any agenda items? Nope. Okay. Time being 7:49, meetings adjourned. Thank you and bundle up. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Chris. That was you.
That's the Denton County.
I'm sorry.
You have a spot here.
Damn, I'm jumping too fast ahead. Good. Good.
Denton County.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. It's never an easy.
We're out.
All right, have a good one. Plant a living group.
Being that's all in our, we don't have a spot for it. That one spot over there by Kroger, that's a pad site. So there will be, yes, yeah, that's not, yes, that's a pad site.
Anything about the sign?
I know, that's why the community development corporation working with like the Bartonville Town Center. Everybody, every year they're like, let's do lighting, and I'm like, I'd love to, but where? I know. Well, now it's about to push this out. Right here on the other side of town hall. And then do the event when the store's closed. Park at the front of the store, and you can see the tree.
Well, at least you found the owners.
Yeah. Well, we have to do something, figure out something, and there's not a lot of options.
Unless we want to build a park